This is about alien abduction. Okay, so I have another creepy story for us, okay? This is a recounting story that is about her mom and her friend, right? She said, when my mom and Lisa were teenagers, that's the name that they're going by. These are not the original names. She said, they were on the roof of Lisa's house and they saw a bright light in the sky. The next thing they knew, the light had gone out. It was gone. And they thought that had been sitting on the roof for like 15 minutes, but 3 hours, 3 hours had literally passed. My mom really doesn't remember anything about what happened during that time, and Lisa simply refused to talk about it. She would just answer my mom with things like, I don't know, or just drop it for a very long time, because her mom was like, what happened there? That's weird. I've never experienced going that long of time without, knowing what's going on. Anyways, so a couple months later, my mom moves away and she lost contact with Lisa for about 10 years. She finally recently had met up with Lisa again and immediately noticed that something is really odd about Lisa, okay? She said Lisa appeared very distant to her with a very dreamy demeanor. She said, or demeanor, I said demeanor. Like she was really happy, like she felt like she was at peace, which is a good thing, right? But for no good reason. And after they talked for a bit, Lisa actually brought up the incident about the roof. Mom says she still doesn't really remember anything about it, other than the fact that she had just lost time. But that's when Lisa said she remembers. She said she remembered everything. She said at first it was all kind of bits and pieces, and she couldn't remember any of it like super clearly, and it freaked her out. She was confused and scared, and she wanted to avoid discussing it because she really didn't know about a lot of things. But as time passed, she began to remember more of the situation, and she remembers it all clearly. She said she remembers 3 other times that she was abducted after that clearly as well. At first, they paralyzed her somehow, and they did all sorts of invasive experiments on her. But the most recent time, they stopped probing her and they began to kind of talk with her. They didn't speak English or any other human language, but she could understand everything that they said, even though she can't speak their language herself, right? So they kind of just had this like universal vibe and understanding with each other. Apparently, they told her all sorts of things, stuff about like space, stuff about Earth, and most shockingly, they predicted years beforehand that she would get pregnant in a specific year and that she would unfortunately have a stillborn. And that after that, she would never be able to have children again. They also told her that it was not their fault and they had been making an attempt to save her from this fate, which is what they were kind of doing with their probing, is what they explained. But unfortunately, they were unsuccessful. They had told her they had abducted my mother another time after that first incident. My mom says she literally has no recollection of any of this or any other potential abductions. But she does have really reoccurring nightmares of being abducted, and she's almost sure that they are just nightmares, but not 100%. But why would you have nightmares about that if that's not something that... Anyways, I digress. Anyways, Lisa tells my mom that every time she speaks with them, that she comes to the understanding and she understands the truth more and more. When my mom inquires to her what the truth is, Lisa just says, you're going to know about that eventually. And she says that once she learned of the truth, then everything became wonderful, which would explain her like dreamy demeanor. My mom has seen her a few more times over the years, and apparently she has a really normal life. She doesn't like obsess over alien stuff like some supposed aliens abductees do. She's like very normal, and she really only brings it up in passing, almost like it's not really a central part of her daily life. But my mom still doesn't remember anything, but her friend does. It was crazy. But that's the story there. I think that's kind of crazy. I've heard of stories like very similar to that where they kind of talk about that situation. I think it even makes it a little bit more valuable that Lisa didn't make it like a point in her life, and that she seemed very like normal. I've heard a lot of people talk about how when they have, or I've seen interviews like about how they've experienced these things, and then afterwards they just kind of like find like this peace within life. So it's very interesting. If you've had a story like this, you can go ahead and comment below, or you think you kind of know what happened, let me know. If you would like to submit a story, you can hit the email in the bio, and if you like this kind of content, you can follow for more. Oh, also, if you want to submit a story, you can be anonymous if you want to. But it's spookyerinstories@gmail.com. Anyways, everybody have a good day. I hope you enjoyed that.